Hi, it's Susan Madon here, Managing Partner for Minerva Nonprofit Management, here to give you a very quick podcast on special events. Well, right now with COVID, as everybody knows, we've had to turn all our live in-person events into virtual events. And the big question is, how do we raise the funds that we might have during a live in-person event and attract the supporters that are normally found at an event? Because as you know, events serve many purposes. They can be constituency building. They can also definitely help you with raising unrestricted funds necessary for keeping your organization afloat. They're great for public relations. It's a great way to build within your people a deeper sense of the mission. But now, since we have to be virtual, there are some inherent challenges. And these include how to get people to engage with us online, how to get them to even log on and take part in a presentation, how to formulate the presentation so that it is inspiring and exciting enough for people to log in and take part. And fundamentally, how are we going to call these people into action so that they will make contributions or get involved with the organization in some way? So today I'm going to share with you some quick ways to put together your event, to set up a timeline, to work on a tight budget so that you can have the most funds raised coming back to your organization and be as efficient and effective as possible. How you can repurpose the event and use it for other things such as grant seeking or major gift fundraising. And then I'm going to help you with an outline that is, of course, formulaic, but can be very effective in making sure your event is successful and will captivate your audiences. Okay, so starting with your event goal. So in any kind of event, you want to have a firm goal. The goal should be realistic, but it should also be maybe a little ambitious. You want to stretch yourself. So I like to have what I call the external goal and the internal goal. So the external goal might be the one you tell your volunteers, the people who are involved in helping you get started with your event. And then your internal one might be your stretch goal, the one that you have set for yourself. And with any event, you do need certain fundamentals. You need your volunteers, your committees, people who are going to get out and advocate for you in order to get butts and seats, as we would say. In a virtual event, of course, the timeline is much more modified. It's not as long as a live in-person event, but you still need your people to be part of the process. They're acting as ambassadors and advocating for the mission is vital. Now, what do you do, though, if you don't have any volunteers? What if it's all on you? I'll give you some tips on how to handle that as well. So give yourself a financial goal. Let's just say you want to raise $100,000. You want to increase your database by 200 names or prospects. You want to have 50 people sign up to volunteer as, say, virtual mentors. So that could be your goal. Those are the goals that you're going to share with your committee or with your staff, your team, whoever is involved in the process. The next thing you're going to do is figure out your budget. Well, the good news about virtual events, unlike live in-person events, is that your costs are very low. So instead of saying, I have to pay for a meal, I have to pay for flowers and pin lights and a band, you only have to really pay for your producer and some vehicle for distributing your event. Most people use Zoom. They already have Zoom accounts established because they're using them for work. So it's an easy no-brainer. The cost is already baked into your operating expenses. To charge or not to charge, as you're building your goal and your budget, you need to think, where are you going to have revenue streams? Do you charge people for taking part in the event? Or do you hope you're going to make your money during the event through contributions? Or are you also going to add in sponsorships? Are you going to have some of your key donors or your board members make their contributions in advance to help bolster the goal? Getting back to your expense budget, the only real costs you have are going to be a producer to actually put together your event. And I really cannot emphasize that strongly enough. You need to have somebody who's really sound at, the various technology in order to put together a very polished presentation. And I really do emphasize also recording as much as possible ahead of time. If you want to have a live portion or Q&A, some kind of live portion, that's wonderful. But you might sacrifice quality, and you don't want that to happen. Now, if you are really looking for a super polished, high-end event, then you may have to hire, videographers to go out and interview the people that you have as part of your program. I don't really recommend that, and the only reason I don't is that if you appear too polished, then your constituents might think, well, why do they need my help? They have what they need. It's kind of like you want your invitations to an event to look nice, but not too nice. I like things to be clean and well presented, free of typos, but also indicating a need. And you want to always show your need and have that very clearly articulated. So, going back to your budget, once you've figured out your expense side, then figure out where you're going to get your income streams. And then building the timeline comes easily. Start with the event date, and I would build that out no earlier than 8 weeks ahead. So make sure that it's, 2 months out. If you have to do something really tight and you need to get it done in 6 weeks or a month, then, you can do it, but it's just going to cause a lot more stress for you. So just like any other event, start with the event day, work backwards. And what I like to include in my timeline are things like making sure that there's a thank you email that's going to go out the day after the event, making sure that I put time in to get that done before the event and I'm not rushing around after the event trying to get that done, making sure that I have really, really good images because this is all visual, making sure that I have put into my timeline opportunities for promotion. There has to be a lot more promotion for this kind of event because people are being inundated with social media in all sides, in all forms. What I like to do is figure out how I'm going to promote the event, how I'm going to engage the sponsors, and give myself time to write really good, clean, crisp materials. So getting that out of the way. If you're not a writer, then what I do suggest is to use Volunteer Match or Upwork. You can build that into your budget to hire a writer who can actually craft very nice materials for you, and it won't cost you the earth. They can turn the work around very quickly. And the same thing for your producer. You might find a very good producer using Upwork. And this is a site for finding freelance people who are very talented. They have their portfolios. They show you the work that they have done in the past, and you can choose who you can use. If you're lucky enough to have somebody internally, or you're a school and you've got some really great social media young people, that's wonderful. But make sure your message is super clear. Make sure your images look great before you send anything out. The first thing you want to send out, of course, is a save the date. You want to get people excited about the event. You want to get them to understand that the program's going to be wonderful. So let's take a minute just to talk about the program. Be sure to add fun. Yes, it's tough right now. And people aren't out having galas, and they aren't out for charity walks, and they aren't out for auctions and different kinds of events. So you need to add fun to your event. And how can you do that? What I like to do is in my promos, I send maybe a little teaser bit of music because there might be a musical performer. And really, again, with your budget, you need to factor that in if you want to pay for somebody. Otherwise, try to find a good volunteer who can provide your music and your entertainment. I like to send a cocktail recipe, perhaps, or a canapé idea. Maybe once people sign up at a certain level, you can send them a little at-home party in a box. Something simple like microwave popcorn and possibly a bottle of wine. Depends on your organization. It's nice to have something tangible that they can look to and say, oh yes, I've signed up for that event on the 15th. I'll be sure to sign in and take a look at that. Engage everybody in your organization. So if you can have a welcome introduction from your board chair, have a speaker who is one of the constituents, one of the people you serve. It could be a student. It could be, somebody who benefits from an activity that your organization provides. Script your speakers. Make sure they know what to say. Make sure that that's nice and clear. Now, that doesn't mean they need to read verbatim. It can be heartfelt, but script them as much as possible. Make it easy for them. If your board chair has agreed to serve and to speak, don't make that person have to come up with what to say. Offer them some talking points at the very least of key objectives that you want to get across. I like to ask a donor, how did you get involved? Why are you involved? And perhaps a sponsor. If it's a corporation, why are you engaged with our organization? It's nice to hear from many different voices, but of course, intersperse that with your elements of fun. Make sure that you have something that's going to keep people interested, and make sure your program is brief, no more than an hour. 1 hour is plenty to get your message across. Add fundraising pings throughout the program. So it could be that your speakers refer to your website, that there's a call to action, and have it go on through the program, but not continually. Have it be at key moments throughout the program. Be sure you have that call to action, whether it's making a contribution or getting involved. Find ways to engage your people. Repurposing your event. So you've taken all this trouble to put together a really good polished virtual event. You can use it again when you're sending out proposals to foundations, when you're trying to engage a major gift donor. You can use this event as a way to capture their interest. One organization I work with did just that, and they were very successful in receiving a large grant. And part of the reason the foundation was so excited about the grantee was the way their program showcased their mission. Lastly, be sure to get a group of friends together. It doesn't have to be many, maybe 3 or 4, as a mini focus group to look at your video before the night of the event, to polish things up and make sure that you're really getting the message across and that you do have those elements of fun, that your speakers are on message, and that you have plenty of calls to action. So to recap, just like any event, you need your goals: financial, constituency building, public relations. You need a budget that's reasonable, that's reflective of what you need to have in order to have an effective event. And you need the people to be part of the event. That could be ambassadors that'll help promote it, social networkers, producers, writers, editors, and your mini focus group. This isn't a one-shot deal. You can post this program on your website, send it out the day after to people who didn't see it to encourage them to take a quick look. Repackage it in small chunks so that you can get people's attention and use it for other purposes. If you'd like to see a sample of a timeline, budget, and rationale for this kind of event, please let me know. You can reach me at smadon@minervamgt.com. That's smadon, M-A-D-O-N, at minervamgt.com. I'm Susan Madon, CFRE, and I'm always here to help you reach your mission and your goals. During this COVID time, I'm happy to provide you with a 1-hour complimentary consultation in any general area of fundraising. Whether you want me to take a quick look at your strategic plan, if you want some advice on a grant application, or whatever project you're working on, I'm happy to help. Again, you can reach me at smadon@minervamgt.com. Have a healthy and safe day.